Hey guys, welcome to another video. Today I'm going to show you how to combine artwork and an audio track to kind of make a video something similar to this. Let's watch this.
Your ting gang wave up, please. Tell her you go get my PN and that tracksuit, I don't care, just please. And they still just hate on me. Why? Rise that Dawson speech. Let me ride in a black taxi.
Or something like this.
To be honest, from young always been ironic how they never showed love till they see man popping. They all say I'm the hardest, shout my people, pay a man homage. Girl said I'm moving stupid, so if a man's dumb, come give a man knowledge.
Of course, the first thing you're going to actually need is a video editor, and one of the video editors I use is DaVinci Resolve. You can get a free version of DaVinci Resolve and basically just a basic video editor. Okay, the next thing you'll need is the graphic art or the artwork file. Okay, once you have the artwork file and you have the audio track, you're good to go. Okay, and the main question people ask me is like, how do you kind of make it like this, like in the sense that it's a bit dynamic and it's not just flat looking, right? You know, how do I make it? For example, this one here, you can tell there's a background layer and there's a foreground and background, and there's some effects, you know, some overlay effects, like some smoke and whatnot. How do I make it like that? Okay, first thing you need to do, go to DaVinci Resolve. If you open up a new DaVinci Resolve file, I'm going to press new project file, new projects, and I'm going to open up a new project. Okay, all right, I'm going to name this new project something. I'm going to call it whatever the song is called. Okay, so in this instance, I'm going to do one for this one, Crasher, and the song is called Love Audio. Okay, I'm going to call it audio and just wait for the thing to load up. Alright, okay, so now you're presented with a brand new project from in DaVinci Resolve. The first thing you need to do is actually import the graphic art. So if you haven't got the graphic art, then you can't really kind of make what I'm going to be showing you how to do. Okay, of course you need the audio and you need the graphic art. I'm going to import both of those things now. Okay, so I'm just going to import them, just drag the files into this. Okay, so I'm going to do that right now. Alright, okay, so here I've got kind of the files here. I'm going to bring in the artwork itself. Okay, drag that in, and also I created something else as well. This is what else I created. Okay, I took the background layer of the artwork itself and just kind of made it like that. So that way, the reason why I did this, I'll show you why I did it. So basically, if you look at the original artwork itself, if you just open it up, you can see, okay, this is the artwork itself. I created it, by the way. And I just kind of removed the text layer and everything else and just left the background itself, okay? That way, it kind of gives us more flexibility when we're trying to add it for, like, for example, background effects, okay? So I'm going to bring in the background as well. Depending on how you actually created the artwork itself, you can just easily hide all the foreground layers and just make it like this. Okay, done that now. Now let me bring in the audio. Alright, okay, so I brought in the audio as well. So if we zoom in quickly, we can see what we have here. So now we have the actual cover art itself, we have the audio, and we have a background layer to kind of separate just the actual original one. Okay, first thing we're going to do is going to create a new timeline. Okay, so we can press right click, timeline, create new timeline, or you can just press Ctrl N. And the timeline settings I like to use, if it's an audio like this, I just kind of keep it to 1080p. There's no need to make it in 4K unless you want to. I usually go to where it says use project settings, but I'm gonna declick that, okay, and then just select the timeline name. Let's call it the song. The song is called Love, and I'm gonna call it this. Okay, where it says format, I'm gonna change the format. Actually, we're gonna keep the format the same. We're gonna keep it at 1920 by 1080p. Timeline frame rate 24 frames per second is fine. Okay, then we're gonna press create. Okay, now it creates a timeline for us. What we're gonna do now is we're gonna drag the artwork, okay, into this. Actually, let's drag in first the audio first. Okay, drag the audio, and then when we drag the audio, we just want to make sure that it's all the way to the left. Okay, so now if we play it.
Yo.
Okay, and we just want to leave the whole song like that because the whole song is going to be replayed. Okay. Okay, and what we're going to do now is we're going to bring in the main cover art. Okay, this is how it will look like if it's just normally. Okay, normally if it's just there. Okay, and then after we're going to actually extend it so the whole song is being played for the whole duration of the whole song. I'm going to press shift and scroll wheel on my mouse to kind of zoom in on that. Now this is how it will look like if I go in full screen.
Yo.
That's how you do it. It's literally bringing in the image, but that doesn't look nice. It doesn't look dynamic. So what I usually like to do is bring this, select the image itself, press Alt, and then press up on my keyboard, on my arrow, and then now I've got space to kind of add another thing underneath. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is add this background effects picture that we have, and bring that here, and just literally bring it underneath. Okay, and then do that. Then what I'm going to do, you can see you can't really see it unless I hide this one. Okay, but what I'm going to do is actually extend the size of this one here, this background, by pressing where it says zoom. So if you don't see yours, you press inspector, and then you go to zoom, and after I'm literally going to extend it like that. Okay, now if I zoom in full screen, you can see it's like it's a fuller image, but I don't want that to be the case as well. I want it to be blurred, okay? Like if you remember the other one, it was kind of blurred. So I'm gonna go to where it says effects. Okay, so effects, open effects, Gaussian blur. I want to bring that and drag it down to this, to the background here, okay? Then I'm gonna go to where it says inspector and it says effects here, and then I'm gonna increase the strength of the effects of the, and then just kind of blow that out like that. And then because we can't really see this image itself, I'm going to kind of do some quick color correcting to kind of brighten up the image because it's so dark, okay? So in order to do that, you won't have to do that, but I'm just doing that, and I'm going to show you how I would go about doing it if some elements were dark. So I'm going to click on this tab here. There's a tab which says the color tab, okay, at the bottom. And then what I'm going to do now is select the background layer itself, or no, the front, because I want to make that brighter. And then I'm going to go to where it says this button here. And after, I'm just literally going to increase the highlights. I want to try that. Okay, not the highlights, the shadows. Okay, so we can see we're brightening up the image. So that's so bright, dark. And then when it was at 0, that's also dark. I just kind of want to make the image a bit brighter. So I'm going to increase it just a tad bit like that. And then we're good to go. Now we can go back to the other tab. We can also do that actually, copy that same effect by selecting the background layer and pressing the middle scroll wheel on your mouse. Okay, and then it also copies that same effect. So it just essentially made everything brighter. Okay, we'll go back to the edit tab now. Okay, now what I'm gonna do is this actual image text, the actual main image itself. In fact, that is looking too bright, but I'll show you how I'll actually go about actually making it darker with some extra effects. So I'm gonna select the main image artwork itself, and I'm going to reduce the size of it. I don't want it to be kind of filling up the square like that. I'm going to actually go to this zoom and reduce the size of it, so it's like it's in the center itself. Then I'm going to also add another effect. Okay, the effect I'm going to add is a drop shadow effect. So I'm going to go to open effects, search drop shadow, and then I'll bring that onto the main thing. We see this drop shadow here, and to edit the drop shadow itself, we're going to go to effects, and we're going to play the shadow strength. We can make it strengthier, if that's even a word, probably not. And then we're going to kind of add some blur to that, a little bit of blur, the drop distance as well, so it's just centerish. And now if you look at it, it's looking a bit more like that. Okay, so to play it now.
Crusher.
Okay, but it's still looking bland. The next thing we're going to kind of do now is add an overlay effect. Okay, so the first thing I'm actually going to do is add an overlay effect. So I'm going to add some smoke effects. So you can just search up on YouTube. YouTube smoke overlay effect, okay, and just literally download any one that you have there. I'm going to show you one that I've downloaded, okay. Alright, so I've downloaded and imported a smoke fog. It's called Free 4K Haze. This is how it looks like. Just literally a overlay of some smoke, okay, and that's how I kind of achieved that initial look when you saw it initially. Okay, so what I'm going to do is drag that down into the project timeline, just onto the right. And then I'm going to delete the actual audio because there's no audio there, so we don't need that track. So I'm going to press Alt, and left click, and then press Control X. And I'm going to bring this on top here, okay? Now, you see, hey, it covers up the whole thing. Let's make it short as well. Let's cut it off, trim it off, and remove the rest of the thing. To remove the rest of it, what I did there is I press B to get the blade tool, select it, the actual remainder that we don't need, press Control X. Okay, now we've got this here. It's kind of not showing the rest of the files here. So I'm going to click that and change where it says composite. So inspector, video, composite. It's composite mode. We're going to change it to experiment with one that works. Okay. Usually I like to use. Oh, hard light is not so bad. Let's play that.
No cap, even God can't save him. Mum used to work to provide, but there was still.
Okay, hard light is not so bad, but I'm going to change it to. See what it does. Just look what it does. So if I was to use overlay, this is how it looks. I don't like overlay. Let's try screen. Screen is a common one that I kind of use. Okay.
Yo, Cole, is that you?
Okay, but you may be like, well, that's too much. Then all we need to do is just reduce the opacity. Okay, and then
The mix. This is cold.
I don't even show love no more.
But it has like a grayed out look. Okay, so we can actually just change it to no, where was that one? The one we were using before, hard light or linear light. I like the light one.
Can't no one ever show man love.
And then just reduce the opacity, essentially. Okay, so now reducing the opacity.
Not one soul that I trust no more. I see through all of them.
And that's it. And you can literally just search on YouTube or search anywhere for these type of overlay effects and just add them to your own projects. But what I'm going to do, because I want the main image itself to kind of be present, I'm going to bring this smoke effect in between as a sandwich between the actual image itself and the background. So I'm going to just bring this other one on top, okay, and then bring them just kind of all down. So now the smoke effect is not on the main image, but rather it's on the background. So if we play it now,
cause I feel like I can't keep up no more. The tape way pin, I gotta roll this scud. Love, that ain't a must no more. I just wanna trap.
Just like that, okay? Now the next thing I'm gonna do is still kind of static. It's a bit more dynamic. I like that. Next thing I'm gonna do is add an adjustment layer. I'm gonna add some effects, some open effects within DaVinci Resolve. So I'm gonna go to where it says, cancel this, close that, where it says FX. Okay, so effects, and then adjustment clip. Okay, adjustment clip, bring that on top here, and then just kind of drag that out so that it plays for the whole timeline. Okay, after we've done that, what I'm gonna do is go to open effects, okay, and then I'm gonna add another effect called camera shake. Search camera shake, and this is basically gonna allow us to get that camera shake. Okay, so we're gonna go to inspector, video effects, and then we can play the motion scale. So initially, without actually changing any effects, this is how it looks like.
Stack bread till I'm up. I just wanna trap stack bread till I made it.
But that's too much, and that's a lot. Okay, so what I'm gonna do rather is adjust the speed scale and the motion scale.
Jake's took bro. It feels like I haven't seen him in ages.
See that? Okay, but also what I'm gonna do, I think, is zoomed into the image a bit. So I'm gonna, where it says zoom to crop. Actually, no, we're not gonna do that. Forget that. We're gonna actually go to the main image itself and reduce that size. So go to main image, select it, press video. So inspector, video, if it's not selected, video. The zoom, we're gonna zoom out. Okay. So that way, when we do play it, let's play it in full screen.
My life is far from basic. I was in school when Ennis got raided. This beef won't dead.
Just like that. I like the way it's moving, but I want it to kind of be rotating a bit more and zooming in and out. So I'm going to go back to the adjustment clip, press FX. After I press FX, I'm going to go to where it says zoom speed. So the speed of the zoom. And PTR, so that's, I think it means pan, tilt, and rotation speed. So I want it to rotate as well. So it's kind of increase the amplitude of how much you want it to kind of rotate, tilt, pan, all that type of stuff. Just play with the effects here. So I want to kind of go like that. I want it to zoom in a bit more, so we're gonna press zoom speed and zoom amplitude. So you know,
all of them famous.
So now let's look at that in full screen.
Like, no cap, even God can't save him. Mum used to work to provide, but there was still.
I want it to be much more slower. And after, I'm also going to introduce a motion blur. I'm going to put 100%. Okay, so let's make that the zoom speed slower. But let's make the amplitude so that it actually zooms in at a greater strength with that chassis. Let's play that.
Times that she had to skip brekkie. Used to go to school with an empty belly till I hit the trap. Now my pockets ain't empty.
Okay, I like that, but I'm gonna actually reduce the motion speed scale and then increase the motion scale just a tad bit. And let's see how that looks like.
I know he wants to fuck with a gang again.
No, that's too much. So it depends on what you kind of want it to be like. I'm just gonna decrease it a little bit.
Whose fault is it that they love envy? Guys switched on me, fuck their memories. I roll with the blinks on me, they won't get me. Look, all this love shit fake to me. I can't tell you one girl that stay with me.
So yeah, I'm gonna leave it like that. I think I like the way that looks. Okay. Next thing I'm gonna add now is I'm on that same adjustment clip. Okay, I'm gonna add another effect called noise. Okay, not noise, film grain. So film grain. Okay, search film grain and add that on top of the adjustment clip. And then where it says effects, you can see that now it's kind of added another noise, another kind of effect here. So I'm going to click the film grain itself, press grain only so I can see the grain that's actually being applied. I'm going to change the film grain preset to something like 35mm. And just where it says texture, grain size, you can play with all those kind of parameters there. Grain strength, and then press deselect the grain only so you can actually see. And after, you can increase the opacity of the grain and then whatnot. So I'm just gonna add a bit of grain to kind of give it some flavor.
I'm telling Mumsy just pray for me. She don't even know every day I gotta pray for ease. I put faith in bro.
I'm gonna increase the opacity of that smoke background. So I'm gonna, where it says go back to it here, and then actually where it says opacity, increase that a bit more to kind of give it more dynamic edge looking.
Bro, he put faith in me. I told bro, please don't change on me. I got ops on every block, so I roll with a samurai faithfully.
Okay, another thing I like, I did in that video as well is before, because the song didn't actually start straight away. What I did, I kind of faded in the actual cover art itself. So I'm gonna do that, press Alt and then left click and then just kind of drag it out until about here, and I'm gonna fade it in. So by pressing this fader up here and fade it in. So those tools enables me to fade it in. So it will look like this.
Yeah. So different. Look, I don't even show love no more.
Okay.
Listen.
Just like that.
Yo.
Another thing I'm gonna add is another effect. Okay, go to open effects. I'm gonna add, I think it's called lens reflections. Okay, I like this lens reflections. Go to that, and then adjustment clip itself. Go back to effects and go to lens reflections. I'm gonna press where it says preset. I'm gonna change it to not that, plain. So it kind of gives it this kind of inverted looking feel. And after, I'm gonna reduce the global brightness. Okay, like that. Actually, let's go to where it says global blend, and it reduce the blend itself, so it just it's tad bit of a look. Okay,
Not one soul that I trust no more. Look.
I'm actually gonna reduce that furthermore.
Yo, Cole, is that you in the mix? This is cold.
I don't even show love no more. Cause no one ever show man love.
Okay, and that's essentially it. I didn't want to do any more. Of course, you can always add extra effects that you find on YouTube and whatnot. But the last thing I'm gonna do is go to the color tab itself and darken the image a little bit. Okay, so I'm gonna select where it says the adjustment clip, and then I'm gonna play with the curves. So I'm gonna this curve here. I'm gonna just drag it here, so I can drag it from here to there. I'm just gonna darken it a tad bit. Okay, and then that's it. Okay, and then I'm gonna go back to the image, to the timeline and play it.
Not one soul that I trust no more. Cause I see through all of them hugs. I feel like I can't keep up no more. The tape way pin, I gotta roll this scud. Love, that ain't a must no more.
And that's essentially how I created this. If you guys enjoyed this video, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, comment what other video you guys want to see next, and I'll of course make it my endeavor to actually create that. So thank you for watching. Goodbye, peace.